lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum to keep up to date with the community debate. We're also currently joined by 10th Man and by Flatzoid, so I'm going to raise the mic on the Hangout and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of them while I set up for the actual live show.
As soon as you see it's going, the smaller angles will always disappear, so usually bottom up kind of thing. But that's why I say when you have it from the top view, it's more like a compressed angle, I would say. To the bottom, it's more of a disappearing angle.
So let me give you an example and then illuminate the example for me. So if I'm looking down a long, straight, parallel railroad tracks, and at the horizon, or where my vanishing point is, it's converging. The sides are converging inward to a point. The top and bottom are converging inward to a point. And the point becomes my horizon line and also my vanishing point. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So we know that the railroad tracks 2 feet in front of us have a distance between themselves because they're parallel. Let's just say it's 6 feet, 8 feet, for example. But in our eye, as we look down the furthest we can see, it looks like they converged and are touching each other at a point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just playing tricks on our eyes. But now, the reality is the ground, much like the ocean surface, if we're looking out at sea, say at a windmill, we call the deck, correct?
Yes, it's all about on the deck, yeah.
Okay, so anything on the deck is compressed and angled in such a way to where from bottom up, you're going to start seeing blockage, or you can't see it because of the deck itself and the angle from your eye to the deck, correct?
Yes, because the pixels, those are the first pixels that are actually disappearing due to the angle that you're looking at.
So then the images prior to the vanishing point, the furthest you could see, are disappearing because of your angle to them.
Exactly. It's almost like I can use the angle of attack.
Yeah, so then you can't, that's why when we see the miraging effect or the mirroring effect, or both, depending how you want to say it, of a ship's hull upside down on itself, and it looks like it's floating. That's because the pixels in front of it can't be made out.
Yeah, I was more looking to it. I was thinking it's more, the miragings when it's floating, magnifying. It's almost like a magnifying effect.
But yes, isn't that due to the water surface acting as a mirror?
Yeah, the humidity and the light. So how I see it is it's actually magnifying the water in front of it, you can say. And because it's magnifying that and the other object is still far away, and that's why it's causing a floating obstruction.
But what the mirroring effect is being seen because the water in front of it, being on the angle, doesn't show water pixels. It's so compressed, it acts as a mirror.
Exactly. It's like the same as if you're lying on a let's go, you go outside and you lie down on the floor and you see on the tar road, you see all that heat and steam that's going up it. It's the same effect, you could say.
Yeah. So hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Anthony, I just found out that Flatzoid majored in art, and we're talking about perspective. He's got some really good, keen insight.
The problem with the problem with people that have art as a background for perspective is that ballers say perspective's only something that they teach you in art. So just be prepared for that criticism. I know that's not true, but that's what they're going to criticize you for. They're going to say it doesn't work like that in real world.
Yes, I got that a lot before.
The knobheads.
Say that again, Flatsoy.
I say, yeah, no, I've got that before. Been in those arguments a few times.
Yeah, but when you teach, where did they? Let's just turn that argument on its head. Where did they teach the Earth is a ball spinning at 1,000 miles at the equator, flying through space in unbelievable speeds, and gravity without proof? Where did they teach that?
Definitely not art.
Check.
That,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
that's a
Hello.
silly comeback if they're going to say they only teach perspective and art.
It's because also a lot of arguments I've had with people is where they say the sunlight and the moonlight. And then I tell them you can see straight away the angle of the sun doesn't match to how the light is of the moon. But
Every morning
yeah,
I see.
yeah, it's just total out of whack.
Yeah, because it's in the sky and the sun comes over the horizon. And my perspective is just, I can't even see the sun yet, but I can see the light of it in advance. And I look at the moon from where I'm standing, and on a certain day, maybe a sliver of it is lit up. And I go, well, how come if it's got a straight line of sight, all of it's not lit up? Why is only a sliver lit up? And then a few days later, half of it's lit up. But the sun's coming the same way, the same angle.
Exactly. I
Hey.
actually saw.
So within a few days, it decided to light up the whole moon from the same angle, but a few days earlier, it wasn't.
It should actually be changing throughout the day if that's really happening while you got the moon and the sun together. They should be changing as they're moving, but it doesn't.
Hey guys. I want to share something with you guys. Are you there, Paul?
Yeah, he's on mute.
I know he's on mute, so I want to know that he's watching.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Are you there? Are you watching?
I can now. Yeah, I'm watching now.
Right, I'm going to share something with you guys because I'm getting a lot of flack for being a failed lawyer and a wannabe lawyer. So what I want to show you guys is a document that came through the post yesterday. This is relating to me personally. It's my missus, but it's me as well because we both live in the same house. And basically what this is a letter from a law firm called Womble Bond Dickinson, and you can see that in the top corner.
Yeah,
And basically it's addressed to my partner, but it's her name on the account rather than us both, but it's her name on the account, so that's her name. And I just want, if you just have a look at some of the key words, if you can see any of the key words there. Are you getting that reversed or are you getting it the right way?
No, we're getting the right way. So our client.
Yeah, so I want to read it to you, right?
It's kind of blurred slightly.
Right, I'll read it to you. It just says, "Dear Madam," because it's in her name. Without prejudice, save us to costs. We write. This is the law firm. What happened was we were away on holiday last year, and British Gas took 3 months worth of electricity from us without telling us why they'd done it. And basically, what had happened was we paid our gas and electricity every month. For some reason that was unknown to us, they hadn't billed us for 2 months consecutively. Now we didn't know that they hadn't billed us. We didn't notice that the money hadn't gone out. But then on the third month, they quote caught up. Now they're not allowed to do that. They've got to tell us something's gone wrong, and then basically negotiate with us to what would be the preferred outcome, because they could be taking money off us that's mortgage or that's credit card money or whatever. They can't just take it because the agreement with us is to take it monthly, not quarterly without notice, because that's changing the contract. So when they took this money, we were away on holiday. All the money that we had at home, which is where we keep the money most of the time, we couldn't get to because we weren't at home to be able to go and sort this out. So basically, we rang the bank and got them to reverse that transaction, and we told them to fuck off. We'd swap suppliers, so we did. So they swapped the gas over because the gas wasn't a problem; it was only the electricity. But they didn't swap over the electricity because, as far as they were concerned, we had a bill. We've just reversed it. We should be punished for it. And we were like, you're in breach of contract, you pricks. You can't take like 600 quid out in one go. He's supposed to be taking out over 3 months. They wouldn't accept it. So they threatened us with, instead of going to the civil courts, they threatened us. They went to the magistrates' courts to try and force an application to basically burst our door down, fit a pay-as-you-go meter, and then we could, quote, pay back the money we owe. We didn't fucking owe any money for 10 years. We've never had a missed payment or anything. It's them that's fucked up. And it just so happened to coincide with us being away on holiday. So going to the magistrates' court when they're in breach of contract is basically, you can't do that because it's one of the rules of equity that states that he who seeks equity must do equity. And you can't, if you're in breach of contract, you can't swing your sword. But they did do. Anyway, I had to go to hospital for an operation recently. And it was the day of the hearing for the magistrates' court, and I missed it because I was in hospital. Anyway, cutting a long story short, I then went to court and I said, look, Judge, this is my case, and this is my version of events. And I basically said, these can't do this because this is unlawful. This is breach of contract, and the breach is that bad because they've took money that they're not legally entitled to. It's basically theft. Anyway, their law firm gets appointed. And basically, this is their letter. So I filed this about a month ago, and this is their letter back to me after the action's been filed and issued and served in court. And it says, we write further to the above matter. Our client, British Gas Trading Limited, is confident of their position in respect of the above claim. However, our client is mindful to the obligations on parties under civil procedure rules to try and resolve their disputes. To this end, and in the interest of minimizing costs, we are authorized to make you the following offer without admission of liability in settlement of this claim pursuant to Civil Procedure Rule 44.2. 1. You will discontinue your claim against our client, British Gas, in its entirety. 2. Our client will make a payment to you. Our client will make a payment to you in the amount of $643.85, inclusive of the court fee, payable once we have received your agreement to settle and a copy of the signed notice of discontinuance. Number 3, our client will allow you to transfer your electricity to your new supplier. And number 4, both parties to bear their own costs. Now, bear in mind, this is right after they've had the paperwork. So when the paperwork's gone through, this is the first letter I've had off them, and you can see the numbered paragraphs. If I can get it so that it stays not blurred, there's the numbered paragraphs, and you can see what's in it. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this, guys, is because...
Do you want that on screen, Anthony? Do you want me to actually show that, or is it just for the people in the panel?
For the people on the panel... You're not recording this, are you?
Yeah, of course. This is a show.
Oh, fucking hell, I didn't know it was being recorded.
I haven't shown you documents. Yeah. I haven't doxed you.
No, I'm not asked about the doxing. I wasn't planning on this being public because I didn't realise it was... I don't need to reveal this information publicly. I just wanted to show it to the people that I trust on the panel.
Yeah,
right.
I think Nate was on mute when you said this is just for the panel.
I wasn't here when you said that, sorry.
Yeah, it was intended to be just for the panel because I didn't realise that it was being recorded.
Would you be able to edit it out?
Always being recorded.
Okay, just round it out. Good one. You won.
Not so much that I won. It's more the point that these fuckers are trying to present this argument that I am so-called a failed... What did they call me? A failed lawyer and a wannabe lawyer. And it's just not true. I qualified and I still do practice. I just don't practice in the capacity of an employed position. And obviously Nathan's also got something going on, which I'm sure Nathan would vouch for me when I say that we're sorting this out. But the point is, these are deliberately trying to slur me. And I'm like, well, I don't really care, but I don't mind telling people that are on my side the reality. So you guys know the reality. I've got one on my desk right now, which is a victory. And I just wanted to share it with you because I wanted you guys to be aware. So these guys are just deliberately slurring me to try and discredit me at all costs. And I think it's because we're killing their arguments with scientific method. I honestly think that's the reason why they're doing it.
Well, of course
Of
course. You said to me,
if you get so much slack,
go on, Flatsoid.
then you know you're doing... If you know you're getting so much slack, then you know you're doing something right.
Exactly.
It's always the way.
You know you're over the target if you get a lot of flack.
Well, I know two things. A failed lawyer, or should I say them accusing you as being a failed lawyer, took down said science of gravity. And another one was former grocery clerk takes down spinning ball lie.
That's the only thing that matters. I mean, I heard them on Jose's panel yesterday, and it was Joe, or maybe the day before. It was George Netanuk and the Rumpus, and what they were saying was these people, meaning us, the flat earthers, are not intelligent, they're not educated, they don't speak properly, they don't understand anything, blah blah blah. And George started itemizing a particular bloke. I'm not sure who it was, but he was basically saying that he claimed that he had a degree in something or other. And the Rumpus was basically saying, you guys don't have any. He was saying that this particular bloke did not have the credentials that he claims because he didn't understand the basics of A, B, C, D, E, F, or whatever. But following on from that, they were then saying that basically you need to have some basic levels of literacy and numeracy to be able to understand the issues, implying that that's the requirement. In other words, we've got a degree, therefore you don't have a view. That's not true. The reality is it doesn't matter what your discipline is. What matters is, are you practicing science or not? If you're practicing science, that technically makes you a scientist, but you've got to comply with the rules. And there are rules to being a scientist, and it's compliance with scientific method. If you comply with scientific method, you are practicing science. But if you don't comply with scientific method, but pass yourself off as though you're complying with science, you're being dishonest. And these ballers are cunts because they think everything's science. They think technology is science. They think group like evaluations of the breeding patterns of birds is science. It's not. Science is basically the process of systematic experimentation. We've said it hundreds of times, but Rumpus and what's his face, George Netanuk, were trying to create this aura around them too, that they are superior beings because they've got whatever qualifications, whatever they've got in their life. Well, I've got equivalent, and I outqualified the Rumpus. So it's clearly not the case because like my discipline is in evidence. It's not in physics. But Rumpus is a cunt. So they're trying to create this aura of if you've not got a degree, then you've not got a voice, and it's simply bullshit. So,
hey, Anthony, you know why you won that court case, and they are being amiable now? Do you know why you won that?
Because they don't want to go. Because there's a compensation claim, and they're gonna have to pay quite a lot of compensation if it goes to court.
No. You won that because you stood on truth, and they were lying. You won the argument with this false science because you stood on the real meaning of science method, and they still lie. So you win on truth. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, grocery clerk, or farmer.
Exactly. You have to. All you've got to do is comply with scientific method, and you beat them every single time, and they don't like it, and that's why we're winning. So John's got this like approach that riles people up really quickly because he's very dogmatic and curt. But his points are strong. So his delivery might not be as good as other people's. Nathan's got a better delivery. John's points are rock solid. I haven't come across anything that makes John seem contradictory. And I've seen ballers trying to claim that he's cherry picking. And I've looked at some of the claims that they've made against cherry picking. And you can say that he's cherry picking if you pick like this one paragraph. But if you read the document as a whole, this document goes both ways anyway. So they're not actually making a strong point one way or the other. They seem to be arguing both sides of it. So they say he's cherry picking out of context. That's if you read the previous paragraph. If you read the whole lot, it's more neutral than it is making a particular point. And I just don't agree with them saying that John's this, that, and the other because John's points are actually strong. They just don't like it, and they're making it personal against John, and it's just not. And I've not found anything that John's even been slightly suspicious in my opinion.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, 10th Man, Travis, Paul and Flatzoid. Very good to have you all.
Hello, what ho?
Good to see you, brother.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not yet.
I don't understand the question.
Does Earth curve? Can you show us it curving?
Are you talking French?
No, definitely English.
Nope.
That's
Nope.
More
No,
like it.
there is no sign of Earth curve, Nathan. But if you want to treat it as Earth curve, any obstruction can be Earth curve.
What, the effects of perspective, things at the bottom at the most limited angle being...
Yeah,
Gone.
if you want to treat them as curve, you can treat them as curve.
Oh, thanks, that's really kind.
Yeah.
I still don't know how they can.
When you went on mute yourself halfway through a sentence.
I
don't know how
don't know how they can see curve going up anyway if you're on a ball. It's supposed to go down.
Yeah, you shouldn't have an obstruction rising up, obscuring things in the distance if you're on the top of the ball looking down from it. No, correct. They just have to draw that diagram slightly. They have to fudge the diagram. Who's blowing their nose? Lovely. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No, none.
But you can think of it.
Definitely no.
Sorry, I heard you can think of it, what?
No, I don't see any, but you could think that there is.
I can think there's axial rotation of the Earth-based variety if I want to, even though there isn't. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to George Musser.
Thank you.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity, scientific evidence thereof.
Nope.
No, there is no scientific evidence of gravity, Nathan. But if you want to believe that there is, you can.
Yeah, we shouldn't really take this stuff literally, should we?
No, definitely not.
No.
Endless quotes from George Musser. Love you, George. Big shout out to you, my friend. Lovely quotes. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
You know
Any
what
evidence?
Jaron said to me last night? He said, every time I hear Georgie Musser, not George Musser, but when we say Georgie Musser, he said it just triggers that song in his head. Where in the world is Georgie fucking Musser?
Yeah, it does for me too. I've got that going through my head. But it's good, right? I don't mind that at all.
It's good. It's good.
It's not irritating
I
elevator
should
music.
actually make us a little music video with it.
Just glad you didn't use like the girl from Ipanema. Where in the world is Georgie fucking Musser? Where in the world is George? That would have been irritating.
Yeah. Carmen San Diego. It's got too many syllables. I had to get Georgie Musser. Georgie Musser. That's 4 into Carmen San Diego. 6. So George Musser is 3. Georgie Musser is 4. I had to get to 6. So I needed an extra word. So few fucking works.
Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius?
No, there's definitely no evidence of Earth radius. But you can believe it if you want.
Nada.
Go on, Flatzoid. You know you want to. Hey, Chocolate.
Morning.
Good morning,
Hey,
chocolate.
Hello.
What's up, guys? Morning.
It's all relative. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, none. We don't even know that the sun's a real, tangible, physical object.
No?
No
Last
evidence to the distance, but if you
Nothing.
want to,
Go on, 10th man. We've all got gags
well,
to get in here.
say, there's no measured distance to the sun, but if you want to think there is one, go ahead and give me a number.
How did I know that would be a Georgie Musser gag? Any
Yeah,
evidence of a gas pressure existing without the necessary antecedent of a container for all the fundamentalist religious zealots who believe the sky is a vacuum known as outer space? Any evidence of that?
Nope. Absolutely none.
Violates a natural law.
It does. Second law of thermodynamics. Gas can't press on a vacuum. That's ludicrous. space
Nope.
is fake. That concludes the housekeeping. Thank you very much.
Actually, every gas law.
Say again, Flatzoid?
I said it actually goes against every gas law.
Yeah, it goes against Boyle's law. It goes against second law of thermodynamics. What other laws do you know that it violates? Any gas law?
Charles law. Actually, yeah, about everything.
Yep. But if you're a
I can ask
fundy,
Riley a question if we're done.
sure, but I can give you proof of it being real. Look at the sky. There you go. Proof of a sky vacuum. Isn't that?
And what's the and what's the presupposition when I look at the sky?
That it's a vacuum. Then you just look at it, and that proves it's a vacuum. Same thing works if you're talking about NASA
remember-
rockets. If I say NASA rockets are fake because they're in a sky vacuum, all you need to say is, look at the rockets. They're in a sky vacuum. That proves it for a fundy zealot. Shout out to FE Diplomat for the super chat. Thank you very much for your support. Circular Reasoning 101.
I want to screen share, Nathan, if you would.
Yeah, sure. Shout out to No
Right.
Proof for the super chat also. Thank you very much for your support also. Go ahead, Anthony, whenever you're ready.
Chocolate, are you there?
He is, but he's at work.
I'm hoping that I get Chocolate's attention. I want to share this. I'm having a back and forth with Fight the Flat Earth, and look at what he said. This is a really good example of how delusional and how much in denial he is. And I just want to get people's opinions on the panel as to how you interpret this guy's words. He says, Sleeping Warrior, yeah, you still don't get the scientific method. Yeah, I get it. Judge Musser agreed with me that gravity is mass warping space-time. Well, yeah, we knew that bit already. That manifests as a force. And I thought, I don't remember him saying that. Just because you don't know what an apparent force is, that's a bit embarrassing for you. Why did you ignore my question? Do you want to speak to Musser? And I don't have any soccer accounts. Tomorrow you'll see what you want. He's on about the clip that he's clipped off. So I want to focus on this bit. George Musser agreed with me that gravity is mass warping space-time that manifests as a force. And I thought, I don't remember him agreeing with him with that. He said that he liked the word manifests, but I didn't agree with him. So I've gone to the clip, the actual interview, and the word manifest only appears twice. The first word, when he says it, is him saying it. So Craig says, I would like to see if you agree with this. I would like to see if you agree of this. If this is that gravity is the warping of space-time by mass, which changes the locality of things, which manifests within physics that we can measure as an accelerating force. That's Craig asking the question. And then Musser's response is, bearing in mind that Craig thinks he agrees with him, his response is, yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I like the word manifestation. And then he starts to explain, but that's not agreeing. He's saying, I think that's pretty good. That's I interpret that to mean, I'm agreeing with you politely, but that's not really what you actually mean. Because he says, yeah, I think that's pretty good. That's polite. That's an academic being polite to a guy who he doesn't necessarily agree with, but he's making him think that he agrees with him. Otherwise, he'd have said, yeah, I agree. But he didn't say, I agree. He says, I think that's pretty good. Well, pretty good. If he thinks it's pretty good, doesn't mean that he agrees. And he says, I like the word manifestation. I like the word manifestation. But where's the bit where he says, I agree with you that it's a force, given that when we check, and he says, how many times is the word gravity mentioned? Gravity is not a force. Gravity is not a force. I mean, it's mentioned 5 times in here, 3 of which are Craig, 2 of which are Musser. Gravity's not a force.
Hey, Anthony, go back to that one that you had highlighted about Craig saying that and the manifestation. Just go back there.
Yeah, go back to his message. I was going to point something out in that as well. Is that what you mean, 10th man? His message. Here we go. It's the next line I'm interested in, but you go first, 10th man. Well, you go first, 10th man. I was interested in the next line down, but you go first.
I think we saw the same thing. Okay. No, scroll down on not that one, the part that you had with the transcript.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
You want to hear back to the word manifest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. It changes. Science says it operates multiple levels of explanation. Keep going down. So
and often And often we speak in an approximate way to make a kind of progress and understand phenomena that we observe, even though we kind of know deep down it doesn't quite work that way.
Well, he said, to being nice to his host, there are multiple ways and it's an approximation. So he's basically saying you're just sharing one approximate multiple way, but let me school you here. And then he goes on and says what he says.
At the end of the day, the Musser was actually really cordial and affable, right? The way I interpreted Musser's behavior and demeanor was that this guy's a nice guy. This guy's not an asshole. And to be honest, Craig wants me to go on a hangout with him and Musser tonight. Now, ordinarily, I'd jump at it. But I'm in a position where all I've got to do here is lose. Because if Craig's on there, all he's going to do is basically like fan the flames and try and get me to lose my temper so that I look bad. But if I don't go on there at all, then I've already got the victory. But also, if I do go on, it basically looks like I'm his little lap dog, given that he's got this Sleeping Warrior week on at the moment. So obviously, I'm not going to be working with him whilst he's attacking every angle that he can think of to try and discredit me, when I've already got the victory here massively that he thinks that I haven't got. You've got to be a moron to think that in some way Musser agreed with me that gravity is mass warping space-time. Yeah, he did with that bit. That manifests itself as a force. He didn't with that bit, did he? Because he literally said gravity is not a force.
This is the bit I'm interested in, Anthony. So can you just highlight the next line down? Right. Just because you don't know what an apparent force is. So, Anthony, what's an apparent force?
I've got it here. Apparent forces, Nathan. Is that like apparent everything else, as in not actual?
That's correct. So, in the same way, when we describe the Coriolis force, what you're describing is you on the ground looking at an aeroplane, as described in the Coriolis effect, taking a curved path from your position. Now, it's an apparent deflection because the plane's actually travelling in a straight line, or is claimed to be travelling in a straight line as the Earth turns underneath. So in the same way, if you're on a roundabout and you throw a ball, the ball travels in a straight line, but because you're on a roundabout, it looks like it curves. So it's not an actual force. It's a not actual force, a non-force, a fictitious force, not a force. So just for Fight the Flat Earth, Craig, it doesn't manifest itself as a force. If it's an apparent force, it's not a force. You dumbo.
And look at this is where the gaslighting is, or just complete outright denial. Did you really misunderstand him that badly? And I'm like, Craig, if he says it's not, Craig, listen, let me speak to you personally. If I said to you, Craig, you are not a paedophile, but we could treat you as one, would that make you feel comfortable, knowing that I've just said that you're not one? But we could treat you as one, right? But you're not one, right? But we've just said that we could treat you as one. You're not going to like that, are you? But that's the problem with like doublespeak. It makes it sound like you are a paedophile, Craig. But you're not a paedophile, are you?
Yeah, the point is that if you say something isn't something, and then describe it as having an apparent or fictitious force, then it's not a force. It's as simple as that. It's not manifesting itself as mass attracting mass, which is what they want him to say. It isn't!
Yeah.
Well,
and he thinks that I'm the ad hom king. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos. I've seen snips because I'm not going to sit there for hours listening to them all bash me. Why would I? Only a sadist would do that, or a masochist rather. So I've not listened to any parts of it, but I have had people give me little snips where things have been said. And the guy can't, he doesn't stay on topic at all. He literally attacks me all the time personally. It's like he's calling me the ad hom king. And I'm like, really? Okay, so when do you ever really see me ad homing you, other than when you're being really rude and vulgar and personal against me? Why would I do that? I've got the victory here, dickhead. I don't need to be ad hom. I've just got to sit back and watch you bury your own gravity and the Cavendish. Because let's be honest, you guys can't argue Cavendish anymore because of you, Craig. You've killed Cavendish for the ballers forever. And we're going to keep reminding you of it. Because Cavendish, if it is doing something, it ain't gravity that's doing it. Because gravity is not a force.
Gravity isn't anything. There is no force.
Correct.
Yeah, it is something. It's something we don't have to take literally. That's what that is.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you apply math to something that you can't take literally. I don't know what kind of world these people live in. This is like madness or something.
seems crazy
They
that
want
somebody would assume that when we're citing somebody that backs our argument, when talking about the non-scientific mathematical nonsense of Einstein replacing the pseudoscience magical force of Cavendish gravity, then you wouldn't go to that exact source and say, come and back my argument. They're citing you, backing their argument, so come and change your position and back mine. All it's done, given that we were pointing out that the current nonsense has superseded the even older nonsense, that's not going to get debunked, it's going to be supported. So as Anthony's just pointed out, when are we ever going to hear about Cavendish again, given that a pseudoscience astrophysicist has made it very plain? Never. That's the answer. Well done. Absolutely correct, Anthony. We were saying it before, now your pseudoscience has backed us. Well done.
Anytime they leave the laws of logic, they commit the violation of non-contradiction. Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. This is ridiculous. Nathan says there is no such thing as gravity. It's equilibrium. He takes a stand. He makes and then he goes on and proves it. These guys don't prove anything, but they want us to think that they want to remain in a reasonable debate and using the rules of logic. And they say stuff like, gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force.
So can I just give a big tip of the hat to Anthony in this regard? So this is down to Anthony. Yeah, Fight the Flat Earth got Mr. Musser on. However, that was only done as a direct consequence of Anthony's actions. So in essence, this is Anthony's doing. Cause and effect, cause being Anthony. So well done, Anthony. This is absolutely sublime. I'm elated with the outcome of this. Now, I know you sent me a message this morning going, look at all these videos about me. Yeah, absolutely correct. That's what they need to do when you've absolutely smashed them to pieces. Yeah, they need to attack you personally non-stop for a week. That's what needs to be done, because that'll win their argument about their pseudoscience gravity, won't it? No, but it'll make them feel a bit better.
Oh, well, for them. Like, maybe you guys should attack George Musser for coming out here and actually being truthful with himself and not lying to you guys and telling you that gravity is a force. Because he said it for you, it's not a force to be taken literally. So that just sounds like nonsense. And his words, magic. So enjoy that.
Yeah, say goodbye to Cavendish forever because of Craig. Because if Craig hadn't have brought this up or he hadn't dwelled on this point, you guys could reasonably pull the wool over people that are in this discussion that are on our side, who may or may not know how to deal with Cavendish. But now hopefully everybody knows how to deal with Cavendish, because George Musser said, when Craig prompted him, that gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Well, if you can't think of it as a force in real world, it's either a force or it's not. You can think of it if you really want to, but it's pseudoscience. It doesn't do anything. So Cavendish, if it is doing something, it ain't gravity that's causing it, because Musser said so.
It sure as hell isn't science, and I'm not going to have that. You're not going to give Craig the credit after I've just given it to you. It's not Craig's credit. He's addressing you, right? This is a consequence of your actions. So this isn't credit to Craig. This is credit to you. And I'm going to make that clear. All credit to Anthony.
To be honest, I'd rather pass the credit on to a baller, because if it wasn't for Craig doing this, basically it would be capable of obfuscation, but it isn't anymore because of Craig. Because Craig pushed it and it didn't work out the way he hoped it would, because he was wanting to say that it manifests itself as a force, but he didn't say that, did he? He said, I like the word manifests. Well, I like that word too. It's lovely. It's like ice creams. Get in my belly. But he didn't say that he agreed with you that it manifests as a force. He just said he liked your thinking. That's not the same. That's being polite, Craig. You've misunderstood. His context is being polite. In other words, he doesn't agree with you.
Didn't at that part he say, like, yeah, I like the word, but that's not really what the case is? I mean, something to that effect. Like, no, dude, it doesn't manifest itself as a force. It's not literal. It's not a force. But you could use it in force concepts.
It's equivalent,
which was his word.
Chocolate, it's the equivalent of me saying, that's a nice table, it's really discombobulated. And the person you're talking to goes, yeah, I like the word discombobulated. You can describe a table in many ways. However.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Anthony, go with your gut feeling. Let Craig interview Musser. Have Musser not violate what he already said on the pre-recorded show, or violate what he said on the pre-recorded show, which gives us more stuff to talk about.
The thing is, Craig wants me to go on this hangout at 10 o'clock tonight, right? And why on earth would I want to, right? Because he's just spent the whole week bad-mouthing me. I don't know how much. I've not watched virtually any of it. I've seen little snippets. But why the hell would I do that when he's just been overtly rude, offensive, vulgar, curt? I mean, he thinks that he can basically stab me in the eye with a compass and I'll come back holding his hand. And I'm like, it's not going to work, dickhead.
You already won.
This is on the show.
It's a challenge or a rematch, basically. He's saying, give me a rematch. I've lost badly. And you're going, well, no, I've already won. I've got the belt. I've got the prize fund. I've won.
He thinks he's dangling Musser as a carrot because he knows that I'm not going to do it because he knows that he's been an arsehole. Well, I don't mind you being an arsehole. There's a market for people on YouTube for people being arseholes. I'm not interested in your demeanour. I'm more interested in the things that you believe that you can prove. If you believe that you could prove something with some science, then I would be interested. But all you're actually trying to do is just make it look like I'm your little pet dog, as if that's going to happen. You have nothing to bring to the table, Craig, other than like personal attacks, ridicule, scorn, like harassment is basically what you are. And there is a place for that. There are a lot of drongos in this topic that thrive on that. They like feeling that somebody else is being made fun of because for some reason it makes them feel better. But I'm not here for that. I'm here because I want to see what evidence we can prove to prove points in science that make this world a sphere that orbits the sun and rotates every 24 hours. And there isn't any. And you haven't got any evidence. So I don't know what you think that I'm going to, like, I'm not going to play this line dance with you because there isn't a dance. All it is some kind of penis swinging thing that I'm just not going to engage with you on. Sorry.
So just before the show started, 10th Man and I were discussing probably, in my opinion, the best bit of Musser's, what would you call it, gambit into flat Earth. Anyway, his best line was when he made it very, very clear that they don't know the cause. Now, we would assert there's nothing to have a cause of. There is no force of gravity. But that in itself is very useful because it means you can declare, not that we didn't know anyway and weren't declaring it anyway, but off the back of his quotations, you can say, well, there is no scientific evidence of gravity. It's been made very clear by a pseudoscientist astrophysicist that you don't know the cause. And that's the primary goal of science, to elucidate the cause. So if you don't know a cause, you haven't got science. There is no scientific evidence of gravity, something we declare daily. That's an absolute fact, as declared by your pseudoscientist priest, George Musser, who's made it clear, no, oh, not at all, we don't know the cause. Yeah, well, if you don't know the cause, you don't have any science. There is no force. The whole thing's nonsense. You can call it a force that you can call a force. You can say you don't know a cause. You can reify a mathematical formula and create something called the bending of space-time. But you're never going to have any scientific evidence of it. There is no force.
That's why he wants you back on the show, so that he could save the first show. But he already lost based on the first show. So let them go together without you, and then we'll have two shows against them.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the thing. Literally, he wants me to go. All I could do if I was to join him and Musser would be to lose, because basically I've got everything I need already. We have got our points. Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Well, that's like, I don't need anything stronger than that. I mean, other than saying, no, Craig, you are wrong. That's the next best thing. So I'm all right with that.
No, he said, listen to what Nathan is saying. Gravity is a fact. That's what they've been telling us all these years. This guy gets on and says, we really don't know how gravity works. We don't know the cause. Oh, well, I thought the scientific method was cause and effect. Well, yeah, it is. Well, you've been telling us all these years, gravity. Yeah, we have. But now you're admitting you don't know the cause.
He didn't even just say, I'm sorry, Tiff, man. He didn't even just say that they don't know. He said at all. Oh, we don't know at all. Like, it was just like, you're joking for even asking that. Of course we don't know what it is because it doesn't exist. You can't take it literally. Even the guy who came up with the law didn't take it literally himself. So sorry.
Yeah, all the people coming out with this stuff, Newton himself is like, keep that shit away from me, man. Don't ascribe that to me. No way. Everyone who deals with it wants to distance themselves with it. The only people who buy in it wholeheartedly are the pseudoscientists punting it and the fools that believe them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how much more we need to show the people on our side, the flat earthers, that this is complete horseshit and we should ram it down their throats. I'm hoping that we don't see people that are on our side of the fence being 50-50 with it, like not being confident with it. Tell them gravity is not a force.
How can they be 50-50? The guy said they don't know the cause of gravity, which means they've never done the scientific method and manipulated the independent variable. They don't have anything.
I know, but I've seen. I mean, I do lurk sometimes in chats on baller chats, and I do listen to how other flat earthers present themselves, new people that have not come across before, and you can tell that they listen to Nathan's show, but they lack the confidence to be able to assert the position confidently, and you can see it because they'll go, "Yeah, Musser said that gravity's not a force," and then they get stamped on, and rather than assert that position because they've literally said they don't know what gravity is or that it's not a force or whatever, they just let themselves get stamped on. No, don't let yourself get stamped on. Gravity's not a force. Whatever gravity may or may not be, it's definitely not being attractive mass between masses and Earth and core and all that nonsense. It's whatever gravity is, it's not a force. It can't do anything. It can't cause anything. And that's the bottom line. So preach it, because that is the current science that we're told. But all these ballers, it's a playing field. We're on a playing field. This is a stage, and we're all on it. They're trying to control the narrative. It's not. I mean, look at Dawn Treader. Dawn Treader's been in this discussion for years, and he still thinks that there's a force there, despite telling him time and time again, there is no force, Dawn. Nobody can prove it. You just believe it, and he's happy believing it. And he doesn't want you to tell him that there's no force there. He wants to believe it. Well, let him believe it. Don't make it true, though.
Anthony, any new flat earther that's quoting this show or any
hold on a second, 10th man. Hi, Guy. Hi, right the hand.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Guy. Very good to have you. Can you hear us, right
Hey,
the hand?
Nathan. How you doing?
What up? What up? Can you hear me?
Very good to have you both.
How you doing? Thanks. Thank you for having me. I've been listening to your show for quite a while, Nathan. Hello from Israel. And I don't know everybody's name, so excuse me. But Nathan, I know. I've been listening to you for quite a while.
It's very nice to have you, Guy.
Thank you. I don't want to interrupt your discussion, so if you're in the middle of anything, continue.
No, it's good that you come. It's good that you come. So tell us, I presume that you're a ball skeptic or you're a flat earther, right?
Oh, I am a flat earther.
So how long have you been a flat earther?
It's been already, I would say, about 4 years that I've been in it. I have the main website in Israel for Flat Earth COIL, and we have a group. We have several groups. Not all of us are, agreeing on everything. But I have decided to take, my own research and whatever I find and put it in my website and in my Telegram group. And people come, little by little. Yeah. And we do a lot of research also into the Bible, because we read it constantly, and we have all the evidence there as well in Scripture. And today we have scientific, and for me it was amazing that for the first time I could combine both of them, and really show how they're one and the same.
Just before you get heavily into the conversation, I know probably Sleeping Warrior wants to address you about something, but can you just tell the audience again slowly what your website is called, please?
Oh, that's simple. Flat Earth. The domain is COIL.
Flatearth.com?
Well, we don't use com because we don't have a com. We use co.il, which is for Israel.
co.il. So it's Flat Earth.
It's a short for com. So they take out the M and they use .il, the name of the country, or UK. Co.uk, you got co.uk, you got co.il.
Sure, so it's like, is it all one? Sorry, hold on, Anthony. So it's Flat Earth, all one word, .co.il.
www, of course.
Yeah. So flatearth.co.il. Check it out. This guy, he runs it. He's been a flat earther as long as I have, by the sounds of things. So should be some good stuff on there. I'll just put you on screen so people can see who you are.
So we have a lot of research that go into it, and not just flat Earth, but we deal a lot with also the mud fossil research and many other subjects which are very fascinating, and we find them also in scripture. So that's the main issue. But this panel, I just wanted to add, just this panel, which I really like, and I've been trying to do it myself in Israel to find, several people here that we can as well challenge the academies, so we speak. And as you can see, we have Bereshit, we have a new satellite now, right, going all the way to the moon. We have been doing a lot of work here, bashing it, and trying to show all the ridiculous stuff. Yeah. We call it in Hebrew, it's called Bereshit.
Yeah.
So,
Can I ask, what's your position with regards to gravity?
We don't consider it to be, as you say, force. For me, if you're using the term something drops to the ground, is basically you're trying to put something on air. You're disregarding the air around you, which is, acting kind of like water, but not really water, but it's...
So you're saying it's relative to the medium it's in, right?
Of course, it is.
So obvious.
Shout out to Rebel Rob TV for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for your support.
You can have solid objects that can float, and you can have denser objects that can also, lighter objects that can sink. But it really depends on, as you say, the density, the medium, and how. I think the system is a closed system, and therefore all the material in it is basically organizes itself, whether it's gas or water or liquid or. So,
that's right. So did you see Craig? Did you see Craig fight the flat Earth and his interview with George Musser?
Well, I've seen several, so I don't remember all the names. So you'll have to really, be more specific what they were talking about or what was the subject, because I've seen many. And I'm watching, tens of videos every day, different subjects.
There's a citation from a guy called George Musser who writes for Scientific American. And he describes gravity as no longer a force, according to Einstein. Einstein snaps the wand in two. And a guy called Craig, otherwise known as Fight the Flat Earth, picked up on this phrase and he didn't like it. So he challenged me on it. So I doubled down on it and I said, that's what Einstein did. He didn't like it. He contacted George Musser, the guy that wrote the article, and he had an interview with him. And rather than say that he agrees with Craig, he said that he likes his words, but he also said that gravity is not a force. But Craig somehow thinks that it supports him. It doesn't, but he believes that it does. And he's telling people that he won. And he clearly hasn't won, but he's telling people that he has won. But gravity is not a force. Musser said so.
Hold on a second. Sorry to interrupt, Guy. Just a bit of etiquette. I know it's your first time on, but if someone else is talking, if you can just keep yourself on mute, otherwise we hear all of your background noise as well. I know you're just about to talk, so don't worry this second.
I have a lot of background noise.
No, yes. Not you. Oh, does he? Oh, I'm not sure.
Just generally speaking, to anybody watching, if you join the panel, once you've finished your statement, just pop yourself on mute, because obviously your mic no longer needs to be open. I'm not having a go at Guy. It's just typically I listen back to the show and hear everyone's background noise because they've got their mics wide open when someone else is talking. So, yeah.
Just let me know because I can't see.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. So basically what he's done is he's claimed a victory that it's a bit like Wallace. I think Alfred Russel Wallace on the Bedford Levels experiments. Are you familiar with that? Yeah. So Wallace claimed a victory based on refraction, right? And it started a massive fight that resulted in the guy called John Hampton, going to jail because he knew that he was a charlatan. Well, that's what Fight the Flat Earth's doing. He's claiming a victory which he's not entitled to. But stupid ballers think that he's right. And it's clearly obvious that the guy doesn't agree with him and he's being polite and he's letting him distort the meanings of words to some degree, but he's not confirming that he agrees with his position at all. But the bottom line is, if gravity is not a force, it means that the Cavendish experiment's not proving anything, because if it is doing something, it isn't gravity that's doing it, because gravity is not a force. So basically, Fight the Flat Earth has ruined the baller's ability to ever use the Cavendish experiment ever again, because it's not a force. Whatever gravity is, Cavendish experiments demonstrated nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I understand. Definitely. I mean, when I started researching and I went through all these experiments, and suddenly I started to see all these Aries failure, which I never heard of, and all sort of experiments, Sagnac, and like you said, this Cavendish experiment. And I needed to take the time to really think about them, learn them, what it was doing, what they were trying to achieve, how that really proves what they're trying to say that it proves. It took a long time, and we also had debate. And I can tell you honestly, even today, I'm still, trying to find more reification, as you say, to whatever I believe and think. But this particular experiment, as they were saying, trying to measure these two bodies, this, how do you say, attraction between two bodies. No one ever seen it. I mean, if I would have seen that in nature, in material, in hard material happening around me, then I would have said, okay, it happens, but it only happens in magnets, and we know the effect of magnets. We know where it comes from and what it does. So, honestly, we try not to make things complicated. I don't tend to go into discussions like about this guy said that and he's now saying it's not gravity and this guy said it is, because if we start getting into this, a lot of time you will find you are trying to deal with logic of, sorry to say, like 5-year-olds, and you're trying to have a discussion with a 5-year-old who doesn't really understand the first basic. It's not going to lead you anywhere. You're just going to spend energy and you're going to make you tired, And after a while, if you do it over and over, and you will see that a lot of people are like that. Doesn't matter the age, it's the way they educated us, and it's going to take time to release from that,
Intellectually underdeveloped people.
I just want to do a big shout out to Del West Watson, who smashed the super chat to say your website looks really pretty. So yeah, check it out, www.flatearth.co.il. Check it out.
Thank you. So Nathan, I wanted to add quickly something about the show, which I really like, and I love it that you go through the scientific method, and I love. I'm sorry, the name of the guy, which I love it when he speaks, but I forgot your name. He always. He speaks about the document all the time.
Quantum
What's his name?
Quantum Eraser.
Who? Quantum Eraser?
He goes by Quantum.
Is that you?
Quantum
Can
Eraser.
I hear your voice?
The guy who always talks about pretender clowns in crayon.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I like his logic. I like the way he put things into a very clear perspective, especially when he breaks down the etymology of the words. And I've been doing that now in Hebrew. I've been creating a document. I would have shared it with you, but it's all in Hebrew. Basically, I was taking your ideas and your conversation about those points, and I've been building it in Hebrew. To look into our research and the way they've been teaching us the science, what words they've been using as well to explain all of that science, And I want to tell you that for us, Hebrew people or Israeli, we have more of a dissonance cognitive, because we have the Bible, which clearly tells us from day one. We read, we open Bereshit, we read it. Water above, dome, water below, flat, four corner, whatever, And then we go to science and they show us a ball. From 4 years old, I see Star Wars and I see all these things, and, we are in outer space. But then I read my Bible and it's something else totally. So that's a very, very hard dissonance cognitive for most people here. It was for me most of my life. But when finally I found flat Earth, for me, it was like, wow. Finally, that settled for me, that part. For me, it was over. And then all I had to do is look again in scripture and see how it unfolds in reality and see where the science really proves that. So for me, it was really exciting. It's really
I've got to admit,
exciting.
it's something that only came up yesterday. It's funny you should be talking about it. I don't know if it was Hebrew that Paul said he'd gone through and done an etymology if you like, of a particular word in Hebrew. Now, obviously, we've been looking at etymologies and definitions of words to come to terms with whoever we're debating with, but I'd never considered the Hebrew bit. I'd seen it done with Paula, specifically in relation to the Bible, but for the first time yesterday, I'd heard Paul do it, and at the time, what went through my mind was, oh yeah, I can do it. I can do that in Italian, Paul. And then suddenly it dawned on me what the actual purpose of it was from Knowledge Scavenger doing it. Just do a quick shout out to Julio Pabon. Is it Palbon? I think it was Palbon. I can't remember. I haven't got it up on screen at the moment. From memory, he said something along the lines of gravity. What is this gravity you speak of? But yeah, big shout out to Julio Pabon for smashing the super chat. Thank you very much indeed. But are you there, Paul? I don't know if you. I was hoping that would be a little bit of a lead in for you. Maybe he's not here. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. Yeah, I think that's key. When I've ever done biblical studies, I usually try to go back and find the root word, because it usually gives you a lot more basis for what the meaning of the word is. So I do that a lot when I'm studying the Bible.
Yeah, I think it's something we all need to do.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Good to have you.
I mean, even in English, there's a I'm not that versed in it, but usually there's Latin roots in English. So if you understand the Latin, how it was brought together, you get the definition on even how they're brought together. So.
Yeah, and from my study of English, I can see that in the English language they've been doing a lot of games, and we have that also in Hebrew. We have, but not as much. Hebrew is a very sharp language. You can have a lot of meaning in like 2 words. Like 2-3 words, and you can pour a lot of meaning into that if you put it in the right context. And it's a different kind of logic to work with Hebrew.
Yeah, actually, a little bit of work I've done on Hebrew myself is even the letters have meanings. So, like even the letter, so, and you can look at the definition just by looking at the meaning of the letters of the word. It gives you even the definition can be written, and even in the letters themselves. Kind of crazy.
Sometimes the definition is within the word, like the word shamayim, which is the word for sky. Basically, it's like 2 words, sham, which means over there, maim means water. And it tells us basically over there is water, sham, maim.
Oh, wow.
And we have that within the word. And we have many words like that.
Is that where the word shaman comes from?
How?
Shaman.
Shaman?
Yeah, shaman.
Shaman, like a shaman. Shaman, I think
shaman.
it's not an Hebrew word. Shaman, we probably would have taken it from something. Shaman is, you mean like a African priest kind of thing? That shaman?
No, it's a more tribal concept.
Tribal, yeah.
But it's not just Africa.
Well, yeah, but I was trying just to put it in context. But yeah, you mean tribal, which is the correct word. So it's like tribal shaman. Shaman in our culture is less, you would say more rabbi. Okay, you would say kohanim, nevi'im. Yeah, it's like the prophets or that. But shaman is not
All right.
part of
that. It sounded very similar. It just maybe.
Yeah, we use that word. I mean, we know what it means, but we don't have that within the.
So, but kind of funny though. It's basically carrying to water, right?
You mean Well, you can have. Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
so like a water bearer, But it signify that.
Shaman. Well, man would be in Hebrew. We don't man. We have a different word for man, which is like the food that the Hebrewites got from Egypt during the desert. They got the man from the sky and they ate it. It's called man. And which is sa, which is to carry. Lasset, like NASA. Okay, you got NASA. So NASA could be Nasa. He's carrying something, but we also have it. And most Israelis actually don't know that. Don't think about it. Which can be also used to, like you say, like to deceive, but it's not really to deceive. In Hebrew, they're saying like Lo tisa et shem Elohecha lashav, means you will not carry the name of your Lord in vain. Okay, so lo tisa et Shem, you will not carry, you will not take the name of the Lord in vain. So, but he did, hu nasa. He actually did, hu nasa it name, you know, so nasa can be used in that context, actually.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Can you make that a little bit? Sorry, Alan. Can you make that a little bit bigger, Paula? Sorry, my wife's called Paula. Paul.
Oh yeah, I could try to zoom in. Is that helping?
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's just so I can actually read it. I'm fascinated by this because wouldn't it be useful if the definition was based on the words used to make up an English word, and you could actually pull the definition out without having to look at the etymology or the definition itself? Whereas what you're describing is the actual the characters themselves contain like a root to the definition. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
That's so cool.
Every word in Hebrew has a root. Every word has a root. Means like 3 letters of its base root. And from that 3 letters, you would say it's for them, for they, for she, he. All of those would derive from that 3-letter root. Usually 3-letter or 2-letter if it's a shorter, word. But most of them would have 3 letters.
Sure.
Well, I'm thinking I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Got it pulled up on my screen. But unlike the word Abba, which is basically father, I think in Hebrew, I could be corrected in that. But if you look at the 2 words, Aleph, which is the first letter, our leader, and then Bet, which means family, house, inn. So like the leader of the house. The Abba is the leader of the house. So right there you go, as an example.
Yeah. Oh, you have many. Yeah. You have many. It's how do you say, like a zipped language, and the more you open it and you have more knowledge coming out, the more you understand how to observe it and to read it. Yeah. But it can also be used not in a good way.
I like that a lot. It's a zipped language. So as soon as you said that, I was thinking of zip drives and how they will, condense the information down and then you can unpackage it back out again. But the information's all there. That's brilliant. I love that.
Here.
It's like cryptocurrency. It's like cryptocurrency. The historical root is part of the structure.
So if I wanted to tell you a lot of history, but just the truth within that history and squash it into one book, but it's going to be throughout history. Few people are going to write that in their time. How am I going to do it? Because there was many history, not just this history. Why that is more important than others? Because something happened within that particular timeline or event that is most important to humanity than all the rest of the books. And it's zipped. You have to read it more and more, over and over, in order to keep interpreting it within itself. The Torah interprets itself. The book interprets itself. But by the way, anybody who tells you that the Torah doesn't know how to distinguish between a ball and a circle, would be wrong, because the Torah knows exactly what a ball is and what a circle is. Circle of the earth.
Yeah, isn't that in Isaiah? There's like I think the God sits above the circle of the earth is like a flat circle, but then there's later in the same passage where God says, "I'm going to throw you like a ball." Something.
Isaiah himself does the distinction. He
Could
knows.
the circle be a loop, though? Because the circle can be symbolically a loop, like the snake eating its own tail.
So
could it be a loop?
In Hebrew, if I would use something, it's like how do you say in English? It's like, for instance, this tomato is beautiful. For example, this tomato is big. This particular piece of land is round. You understand? So in Hebrew, it will be 2 words. Chug haaretz. Chug comes from the word 3 letters. It's chug. It means to circumnavigate, kind of circle, basically. Chug. Okay. And
sorry, Anthony. What was the word again? Because it sounded like you said hoop.
Chug. You would say kug. Chug, probably. But you would pronounce it with. You don't have the chet, which is part of the language. It is the CH, kind of or just the H can be.
Perfect. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
Paul, if it came out tomorrow, Paul, in the mainstream media that we weren't on a sphere, do you think that the religions of the world, be it Christian, Islam, all the main religions, do you think that they could be trusted to behave, or do you think it would trigger a religious war between the religions over claiming rights over land, and everybody thinks that their religion's correct? What I'm asking is it possible that science is actually acting as a gatekeeper, keeping the religions at bay? Because if everybody thinks that we're on a sphere and that it's just it's random and we're just specks of dust, is that actually a control? And can we trust the religions to behave if it did become public knowledge that we weren't on a sphere?
Well, that was directed at Paul.
I mean, okay, yeah, I'll the simple answer: individual people can't be trusted, and even because every group is made up of individuals. I don't think anybody can be trusted. So I don't know if you could say it's a gatekeeper. I mean, even in the Christian community, there's obviously you got flat earthers like us, and you got heliocentric people that that I've talked about and talked against. I don't think it would change the nature of humanity at all. I mean, obviously, for thousands of years, we believed that the Earth was flat, and then all of a sudden, heliocentrism came in and has been the dominant thing over the last several hundred years. So I don't know if that's necessary as science as a gatekeeper. We've talked about this before, or the question has been asked. To me, I think the new religion is scientism, and so really,
yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
It's created its own problems. Like, I mean, I'm sitting here. I mean,
Kabbalah.
Yeah. Paul, Paul, sorry, Nathan, you incorrectly addressed my question to Paul. I did want to know what Guy thought. The question is, could religions, the main world religions, be trusted not to start fighting if it did come out tomorrow that the Earth wasn't actually a ball?
No.
But they're already pushing
no,
the
I
new
don't
religion.
think so.
But
They're already
Oh, God. So Anthony did it. That was addressed to Guy.
All religion already
I'm
working to combine all their doctrines together, and they've been doing it with science, and now they're going to bring it with Kabbalah, because Kabbalah is going to, with string theory and with all the, it's going to basically connect everything to a lot of people around the world as the new religion, and it's going to be very mystical. It's the Zohar and the Kabbalah, and it's basically the hidden parts of the Torah, and there is a lot of, I think, deception there, because, even I think the scriptures talks about the big deception. I've been going myself, doing a lot of study, also in scriptures. For us, for example, the New Testament is basically blocked for most people here. I'm not talking about people who are Christian who live in Israel. I'm talking for most Israel who grew up, don't know anything about Yeshua, for example. They know, certain things, but not as deep about the scripture. And you can see that, I think, basically prophecy unfolds. You can see that they are going to combine, everything, and they're going to fight them among themselves. There is, basically a power struggle amongst the, the priesthood and royalty, but as he mentioned before, the Ouroboros, that snake, two ends, that's basically what they're doing. They're going to give you the good and the bad, but it's basically going to be the bad against the very, very worst, So you choose which you want, the Hegelian dialect, you choose again, left or right, which one do you want? And I think basically the main message of the Torah from the beginning is to choose him, and no other man, no other system. None of them are good. None of them. Just 10 commandments. Basically, all you needed, guys, was 10 commandments, and we made it a mess. All we needed was 10. From that 10, basically, you can build pretty good society. If you teach the children from young age to respect the parent, to respect the surroundings, no problem.
To touch on Anthony's point about or with the fighting, I agree that with Guy here that they're already prepping the constellation of the religions. Like you see the Pope is meeting with the Muslim leaders. They're already getting us ready for this one world where, so I don't think there will be a fighting. Like I think they're all in on it together. Like I think they all know the real truth that the earth is flat. They're all playing their part to string the truth along. They'll do some infighting here and there, but that's just enough to make us think it's real. And then they'll all agree hey, we have to agree on one religion, and that's how they'll get everybody. So they'll have all the Muslims, and all the Muslims and all the Christians and not real Christians, but the Catholics and the people that have been fooled will be like, oh, okay, we figured it out. We're all coming together, and that's what God wanted. God wanted us to all just come together in unity and not, and that's how I think that's how they'll play it.
I think everyone would agree that heliocentrism is the one world religion. I don't know, just before we round out the live show, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, but I don't know if Arwen, did you want to add something to that just before we round out? You're on mute at the moment. We're trying to figure out whose background noise. It's yourself, Guy. If you can keep yourself on mute just when you're not talking.
It's Guy. Guy's got some noise in the background.
I did say that earlier. It's okay. Go ahead, Arwen. You're on mute at the moment, Arwen. May not appreciate you've been muted in the Hangout.
He doesn't respond. Can I say something?
Give him a second.
Yeah, he's obviously not there, is he? He's
Yeah,
not
fair
sat
enough.
on his mic.
No worries. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, there's the Bible the New Testament Bible talks about a great deception that will come at the end. And my first thought was, when I first got into flat Earth, I wonder if the heliocentrism is not the great deception, because and everybody is kind of lashed onto it. There's nobody that's not let that kind of sink in. So that to me has been my kind of thought process through this whole thing. So heliocentrism is the great deception to me.
And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley channel, then unfortunately this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, joined us, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. And of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Be sure to check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum at nathanoakley.com, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Some people just cannot be pulled from the matrix. They've waited long enough so that those people, so now it's just about, we're lucky they gave us even that, right. I don't know if I would have came to it if they didn't release it. So, but 99% of people just were like, that's stupid.
There's a deception coming, and it's going to involve all the religions and one world government. And if you look at this from Genesis to Revelation, I really appreciate Guy coming on today. I got some questions on the next show for him. But if you look at Genesis to Revelation, the ruler of this world is Satan. He runs the Trilateral Commission. He runs everything. These peons who pretend to be governing us are Luciferians. Look at their actions. They don't do the will of the people. So, yes, the end is going to be a great deception. All the religions will be on it. So this is why scripture is very important for everyone to read themselves and ask God for the truth, because the religions aren't teaching the truth.
Yeah, and Flat Earth brought me to spirituality. Like, I was a devout atheist, and I would say this. I would say, short of God coming down himself, I will never believe in anything supernatural. And it was and then what did it was the lie. Like, you find out they're lying, and you're like, why would they lie about something this big? You don't do it for money. They print money. It has to be something bigger. And then you just start connecting to the Bible, that the Bible says the earth is flat. It says you could see the tree of life from all over the world, which is impossible on a ball. And then you're like, holy crap, they're doing this to discredit the Bible. Or at least that's my take on it.
I think Anthony's right. He should put a message. The ball is the big deception. It's the one world religion, in my opinion. It's the unifying religion. It is a religious belief. It's based on faith. There's no scientific evidence for it. All the stuff we go through on every single housekeeping. But ultimately speaking, it unifies everyone, doesn't it? If you can get everyone on the ball, they're all worshipping the sun, then you've got a one world religion.
That's not a religion because it's based on quote unquote fact.
Well, no, that's just the deception. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's why it's so great, because they don't think it's a religion.
Exactly. That's the great deception. That's what I'm saying. That's what Anthony put in a little comment box. Hopefully he'll pipe up and actually add to that. But yeah, I see that as the great deception. But that's what unifies everybody under one umbrella, a one world religion. Even though it's not, and they don't even appreciate that they've got a faith in this shit, that's not the point. They don't need, that's even better for them.
I do think that the Great Deception is the shape of the earth, but I don't trust the religions of the world, including Christians. I don't trust any of them to behave properly if it became public knowledge that we're not on a ball. Because what you mean, look at all the fighting that goes on over what they call sacred lands and sacred shrines and all this bullshit. They're all fighting over nothing, but they're all killing each other. And that's before they realise that religion's important. They think religion's important, but if they knew it was important, that would just make them even more radical, in my opinion. I actually think that the purpose of science is to control the religions. I think that they're acting as gatekeepers to stop people from killing each other, because I think that's what would happen.
How do you know they're killing each other? Where have you got that information from?
There's enough evidence to show that Syria's been destroyed by people that are all fighting in the name of religion. Same for Iraq.
Pictures and video, the same as space, man. Like they fake these wars to get you to think that there's some kind of turmoil.
A lot of it.
There you go, Anthony.
I'll agree with that. I think religion and science.
I'm not saying
are working.
people are not getting hurt. I'm not saying people do get hurt.
Agreed.
Innocent people get hurt. But in those destruction, they are doing a lot of Hollywood stuff in there. It's sad to say, but a lot of that is propaganda. You know,
Right, that's
and they
why
like
I
to do this group, wherever they can find a group where they can say, oh, that's nice, here we can put two sides, they're going to put two sides, and they're going to start saying, okay, that, and look, this side, look at what that side do, and this side, look at what that side do. And if they have a problem and those two sides don't want to fight, they're going to put people inside those two groups, and those people are going to start to mimic fighting, and that's how it's done. That's the dialect.
Hey, Anthony, don't group the religions of the world who hijack the Bible that you could go read on your own and see it says, love your enemy, do not murder, forgive those that despitefully hurt you or use you. And then you see the religions of the world ignore the very scriptures from the Old and New Testament. They don't represent God. Satan runs the religions of the world. Satan runs the governments. Let me finish. Satan runs the religions of the world and the governments of the world. That's why everyone says you can't trust religion, because if you go and read what Christianity teaches, and you go read what the Ten Commandments teach, it's beautiful. It says, love your enemy. Don't do anything wrong. Treat people right. Don't lust. Don't steal.
I know, but listen, I don't trust. Shut up. I don't trust the main religions because they've all got their own agenda. I'm going to have to go and take him out for a weebie. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, well, that's what we're saying. We don't trust the religions either.
We're saying the same thing. It's the religions are the problem. They're not what Scripture talks about. The Bible and the Torah have nothing to do with being religion. Even the rabbi, his main, main work was to teach, but basically to teach, like if you are illiterate and you didn't understand the word or you didn't understand what it says, but not to the Faresh, in Hebrew, to give you his opinion on what the text says, may or may not say. Basically, just need to teach you what is the meaning of the words in the text, and you have to read yourself, because the Torah basically tells us, teach your children, read it day and night, and teach your children. So if I should be able to teach my children that, then it should be understandable to them. I don't think God would have given me anything that I can't explain to my children. Understand? So it should be very simple to read. It should be quite obvious and clear, and it shouldn't be that. And the rabbi job or the priest is just to, if you're illiterate and you don't know how to read the Bible or to understand those heavy words or meaning, just to be there to clarify that for you, but not to give you his opinion on what he thinks they mean or may not mean.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have joined us in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. If you need to keep yourself occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this after show possible, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!